Oh, hello. Welcome to today's Decay. We shall learn births and beginnings of everything important since the dawn of time. May 13th edition. All day. And what happened today? Why, in 1926, Dewey Phillips was born, who was a Memphis rock and roll radio disc jockey who got his start playing hillbilly and race, in quotes, music as early as 1949. Um, that's a half decade before rock and roll was a thing, um, and this was a like racially charged time in life, obviously, and yet the great equalizer. You know, like you could. What is your financial standing? How much expendable income do you have? How comfortable are you leaving the house and or sharing public spaces with other walks of life, people, whatever? Radio is like the great equalizer in that way. You don't need a whole bunch of expendable income to buy a bunch of records or be allowed in a certain music venue or something like that. All you need to do is be able to buy a radio, and you have the world can pour right through it into your home, right? And for Dewey Phillips, he, I guess I'll say, didn't believe in genres, and I don't disagree. The same as like a Lemmy from Motorhead. There are no genres. There's just rock and roll. As far as Dewey Phillips was concerned, whether it was hillbilly bop or rhythm and blues or rock and blues, it was all fair game on the Red Hot and Blue show. And what started in 1949 as like a 15-minute time slot, within a year, he had, was it nightly, weekly? He had a regular thing that was like 2 hours long. I think it was nightly. I could be wrong. That was like wildly successful. Again, we're talking at least a half decade before like Elvis walks into Sun Records, really, you know. Red Hot and Blue, amazing trailblazer who sidestepped or like, you know, did this in the face of major racial prejudice at the time that could have gotten him in a lot of trouble, if not worse. And yet he did it anyway because he believed in himself and he believed in the music. So you can find Dewey Phillips' Red Hot and Blue radio show content on the internet. It's free in streaming places. And I suggest it strongly. This is years before Alan Freed. He really, you know, if you could say rock and roll in one word, maybe it's Dewey Phillips if you like hyphenate it. That doesn't work. Forget it. Whatever. Anyway, Dewey Phillips, 1926. The film Werewolf of London premiered today, 1935. That stars Henry Hull and Warner Oland. Henry Hull is, that's the werewolf film that he's got like a smoking jacket on, you know. Really great character design, as designed by Jack Pierce, monster maker for the majority of the Universal Monster Pictures in the 30s. Cortland Hull, relative of Henry Hull, lives in Bristol, Connecticut, and here's his home address. No, but he actually would be very quick to pass out his home address to anybody that wanted it for like a half century, because him and his dad in the 60s created a classic monster wax museum that every October he would like invite people to his house and visit and like give a whole tour of the wax museum. And because of his connection to like classic monster celebrities via his, Henry Hull, he was able to meet in the 1960s Vincent Price and Boris Karloff, and like they would visit Forey Ackerman into like suburban Connecticut. And I never forget the first time I went there. It was October, just after 9/11, and we printed out MapQuest directions on like a whole bunch of sheets of paper, and it was just like driving through darkened suburban streets, being like, we are lost. I don't know where we're going. Let's turn around. Or there's like, no cell phone stuff yet or anything. And lo and behold, we turn the corner and the trees part, and there's this giant um, film screen just set up across some random suburban house, projecting like, I don't know, Bride of Frankenstein or something like that. And creeping from in and out of the shadows is somebody dressed as Phantom of the Opera, playing violin. And lo and behold, there was Sarah Karloff sitting in like a trailer outside of what was the Witch's Dungeon and Classic Monster Wax Museum, along with Cortland Hull. And they were just entertaining local neighborhood kids and families that have been coming to, visit him and see all of his handiwork for, well, generations, really. And that's all because of Henry Hull's role and connection to the Werewolf of London, 1935. Yeah. Beverly Owen, born today, 1937. Marilyn Munster, #1. There was 2 Marilyn Munsters. She starred in the first 13 episodes. Not cursed. No way, certainly not cursed. Yeah, and so Marilyn Munster, #1. There you go. And then she was replaced. Richie Valens, born today, 1941. Although there's a whole conspiracy theory out there that he's actually a lot older than the record labels were presenting him as, like a teenager. I am not going to go there, but maybe Eddie McNamara will give you his presentation on this. Maybe that's like a House of No lecture we can do. I don't know. The film Hellraiser premiered today, 1987. I love Hellraiser 1 and 2. 3 has some interesting parts. 4 is also ridiculous, but 1 and 2, to me, the ones that are produced in England, are just kind of untouchable. It changes the game, and it's a game that nobody else was able to really like follow up on, because it's just never loses its punch, in my opinion. They're together, they're kind of like perfect films. Yeah. What else? So I said it's May 13th. So in 1988, May 13th fell on a Friday, and the film Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, premiered today. I love when Friday the 13th, I guess the producing group, were able to get their act together and figure out how to actually release Friday the 13th movies on Friday the 13th. It is so sloppy. Like the same as like, having food touch on a plate together or something. Just wait and release the thing on Friday the 13th, whenever that's going to be, even if it's a little bit later than your release schedule. How could you not? And yet mostly they didn't, but this one they did, so well done. What else was well done? Also in 1988, the film Maniac Cop premiered, which again, like, this is a perfect movie. Why this hasn't had such a major resurgence in the modern era, I don't know. It's an absolute crime, and it is ready to be rediscovered by the same as Maniac Cop 2, frankly. Late 80s, early 90s, New York City, great character actors, a young Bruce Campbell, almost like a Jason Voorhees Maniac Cop character. It's direct produced by Bill Lustig and Larry Cohen. I mean, it's like a combo you really just can't beat. You can't beat the whole damn thing. So yeah, Maniac Cop. I'd like to go figure out, like, scout some shooting locations for Maniac Cop, because it's probably like right around the corner. Right? It could be anywhere. It could be right behind you right now. Anyway, what is the point? The point is that's it. May 13th, you got the whole damn day to enjoy all that great stuff. Yeah, so anyway, what's on TV tonight for you? And me? And all of us? Why, you are. Till tomorrow.